There we go. Here we go. Episode 482. I think I wrote that down correctly. 482 with Michael Palascak here with me, Justin Severson. No Laugh Track Podcast, Acme Comedy Company in Minneapolis. Michael is here in town headlining once again at Acme. Yep, wave to every camera. Yep, there you go. Now, yep, there you go. 1, 2, 3. Congrats on another week at Acme, sir.
Oh, thank you. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I backstage before the show last night. It was the feature and host's first time featuring and hosting, and it's Hamburger.
Yes,
Joey Hamburger.
Joey Hamburger.
And
Elise Cole.
Elise, thank you.
Yeah.
I knew it was Elise, but I didn't remember her last name. And it was so funny because Elise came into the room and she saw Joey and she got so excited because she didn't know that he was hosting because he had never hosted before. And I was like, I'm not going to hold it against you that you weren't that excited to see me. But they were both. I was talking to my mom about it last night because we touch base all the time. And she was like, it must be fun to be around people with that kind of energy. And I think it is, but also I think Acme just brings that out in general in comics. Like, people are always excited to be here.
Did you want to go, it's my first time too, just to get in the group?
I was just like, I watched both of their sets too. I always watch all of the hosts and then the feature until I have to go to the bathroom. And, well, because you don't want to have to go when you're on stage. And they both had that, like, if a comedian is good, that's good. But if you also have that thing that makes you feel like this is the show that you're doing right now, just this one, and you're not worried about the one before or the one after, and that's like an extra level of funny, and I think they both have that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a really cool thing to say.
Yeah.
Where did you first become a MC or feature? Same place?
No. At the same club?
Yeah.
So, no, I started out in the suburbs of Chicago.
Right.
Which is kind of cool because there was a club scene, like, not but like I was like,
Party boy, Michael Palascak.
in between techno, can I do some jokes?
It was a rave, in other words.
What's the deal with that? No, it was there was the Barrel of Laughs in Oak Lawn, and then Riddles in Orland Park, which was like my parents' house was right in between them, and that's where I was based out of. It was my parents' house when I started. And the Barrel of Laughs was hosted by the owner of the club, who's a comedian, so he hosted every show.
Okay.
So you wouldn't host there; you would do a guest spot, and then feature eventually. And I remember the first time I was like, "Oh, can I get a hosting spot?" He's like, "Michael, I'm the host." I host there. I was like, "Oh, okay." So
also, I signed the checks.
Yeah, exactly. So I guest spotted there, and then they were the first club to feature me. But the first club that I hosted at was Riddles, which was in Orland Park, and that was like a hot room at the time. And they moved recently, and I'm sure they're good too. But that was the first club to like host me.
Do you remember who you got to work with?
Yeah, Don Reese. Have you ever seen Don Reese? He's like the monster of the Midwest or something like that.
Okay, I've seen that name.
He's got in his headshot. He was bald and had sunglasses on, and he was the nicest guy. Like, he was really funny, and then he was the nicest guy. He like gave me his CD, which I think is really cool. Like, both me and my friend was featuring Denise Ramsden. She was the feature, and she's super funny. And I was like, oh, this is the comedian who I opened for his first or my CD, and he said like really nice stuff about me, and like that week was a good week. There were other ones that were harder, but that one was really fun.
Did you take that from him, and now you give your CD to all your features?
I don't, because I feel like what I thought about with him was so cool. Like, I didn't feel like he was being like, oh, you want this. He was just like, this is a nice thing I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Right, like, but it could come across as
well,
that.
I feel like I wouldn't want it to come across that way, but I feel like if I were to give like another comedian a piece of merch, I'd be like, you know you want that. And like I would be afraid that I'd be afraid that they do it that way.
Here, maybe you can work up to something like this.
I'm too like self-conscious to be like, oh, you aren't. Like, I don't know. I was thinking about that because this is a weird transition, but
yeah.
My first like late night set was on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and I thought like he was really good at being like, oh, your parents are here, they want a picture. And I was like, exactly. That's exactly what they would like. And he was the only one out of all of the late night hosts that took a picture with my family. And he like waved them down from the crowd. Some guy who wasn't my dad started to come down because he thought that he would just get in it. Yeah, he's like me. I was like, no, that's not my dad. So that guy didn't get a picture. But like, he took a picture with my parents, and before the show, he came over and introduced himself and like just gave me all of the Tonight Show advice. And I thought that was so cool to because it was something we wanted. And I mean, he's hugely famous, so of course, but it was, and he wasn't like awkward about it. It was just like, this is my job and it's fun, and it was fun for everybody. And just seeing him in interviews now, because he's talking about the fire thing a lot.
Yes.
He is such a down to earth, hugely famous, like guy. Like he just seems like he's so in touch with his success, but also with just being a normal human. And I think people overlook that a lot when it comes to him.
I think so too. I always had a thing against Jay Leno because I thought he was a terrible interviewer. But I respect the fact, and I think it has to do with what you said, is that throughout all of his success, he still went out on tour and still did shows as a working comic.
Mm-hmm. I read the book. There's a book. I haven't read the one between him and Letterman, but I read the Conan one, and I don't know what Jay would say about this, because obviously he likes doing all of it. Otherwise, he wouldn't do it. But they were sort of implying that he just loves stand-up, and this show was a way to do that, like to get his, as a way we're doing a podcast or something like that. And he only lived off his stand-up money and still does stand-up. So I don't think that, it's not like, the interviewing isn't the thing for him. But I would never say that to him. I'd be like, oh, I'm so happy to be interviewed by you. But at the same time, it's like, that there's an honesty there that I appreciate, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm doing this because this is the thing, this is fun, but it's not like there was no false. I didn't feel like it was ever fake. It was just like, this is
sure.
It was sort of like you go into a restaurant and someone's nice to you because they're supposed to. It felt like he was nice to you because he knew that was the right thing to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
So thing I do sometimes is I search my guest name on eBay.
Oh, cool.
For some reason, eBay kept correcting your last name to some like Hispanic name.
That's because of the baseball cards.
It must be.
Probably.
It must
I don't
be.
know. I played baseball. So I don't mean to interrupt, but I played baseball growing up, and American Legion is like the level between like high school and college, kind of like you play in the summer in high school. And my coach was like, because it was like the time when you would have a chance to maybe go play in college after that. And he was like, Michael, we need to change your name to Miguel because you might get a lot more scouts to come watch you based off how you're doing right now. And I was like, you could say that, sir, but I cannot in the 2022 political era.
Oh, that's funny. So so your name did pop up on eBay, and this is crazy that you brought up Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Because this is what's for sale. Can you see that right there?
I can see it.
Okay.
But I can't read it.
There you go.
What is this?
That's a picture of it.
Yeah.
That's a screenshot. It's the For Your Consideration DVD.
What?
Yes.
That's awesome. Can you send me that?
Yes.
I want to buy that.
For real?
Yeah.
So so people that aren't me or Michael looking at this, it's the NBC Emmy DVD late night show. It's a DVD that they would have sent out. What year was it? 2000?
This was 2010.
It
was the summer of 2010.
So this is the DVD they would have sent out to the Emmy people that vote for the Emmys to maybe get their vote.
If you want to buy it right now, I'll pay you back just so someone doesn't buy it.
we could do that. So for $20.50, you are gonna.
I'll pay you 21.
You, Michael Palascak, are gonna own the DVD copy of this for your consideration. It has an episode of Saturday Night Live. It has an episode of Jimmy Fallon featuring Bruce Springsteen. It has an episode of Last Call with Carson Daly, and it has an episode of The Tonight Show with Jay Leno featuring Steve Carell, Jane Lynch, Michael Palascak, printed on the official Universal Studios DVD. How cool is that?
That's really cool. First off, you don't have to. We can buy it right afterwards because I want you to mail it to my house. Secondly, I think it'd be funny if Steve Carell was selling that. Like that would be the best ever. He's like, I got to get rid of this stuff. I love that because I remember that show was in the summer and it was Steve Carell and Jane Lynch. And that's why that was the show that was submitted. Like, maybe it was that hot 4.5 minutes about living with my parents. Maybe.
Damn right.
But I remember that because I got a Google alert when that came out, and I used to kind of try to put that on resumes or whatever. I was like, well, no one even knows what that is, but now I have proof. I'm going to frame that.
Boom.
See? Hang it in my house.
See? So you just mentioned it now, and you also mentioned it last night during your set about living with your parents. Living with your parents until your mid to late 20s?
Oh, yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. My joke is now I just keep saying the word late because I still have I bought a Jeep when I lived there, Jeep Cherokee. I think that's okay to say. Jeep Native American. I don't know. It's inappropriate to even joke about. But it is a very good car, and I hope everybody gets a cut of it that should. It's four-wheel drive. You don't need that for the LA weather, so I left it there.
Okay.
And it's really nice because my mom has to move it every day to leave, and my dad will take it to get its oil changed.
What a pain in the ass.
It's found a really good home. And I offered to take it with me and offered to move it, but now my brother's back home a little bit, so he'll use it, and my dad likes it. I remember when I went to go buy it, I was just looking for something like smaller as a comic that's like a little more fuel efficient. And my dad like basically like whispered to the car and they pulled that around. I was like, well, I'm not going to get that. That's the coolest car I've ever driven. And it did get me to gigs I wouldn't have been able to get to with a normal car. So I think it paid for itself eventually in that sense.
Nice.
And the environment will heal itself. But
I have a question for you about living at home in your 20s.
Yeah.
Dating. How, did you dated? I assume you dated in your 20s?
Yeah.
Did you, things? Hey, let's go back to. How did you complete those sentences when you're out on a date? Let's go back to blank.
First off, I care about the environment. Recycle. Secondly, so it wasn't just dating, living home with my parents. My parents, I'm Catholic still. I was raised in a Catholic household, which is like no sex before marriage, and basically no. Like my parents said, I wasn't allowed to date till I was 16, but I think they still don't want to know if I'm like I feel like when I was a kid growing up, and so there was that whole thing. I mean, I think they have a healthy experience with me dating people, but it was like the good thing was they lived in the suburbs, and so I would do shows in the city a lot of the time. So I would go out on dates in the city, and then we're not coming back here anyways.
Oh, too far.
Yeah. And then eventually the more you got to know someone, the more they get to know you as a person and know what your situation is, they're either going to take it or leave it, and then you just sort of go from there.
Sure.
And also I was a comedian on the road, so I was working a lot when I was home, and then I was on the road. That's when you sort of got to hang out with people and do a lot of fun stuff.
Sure.
Back then you could be a host on the road. So it'd be like you're hanging out with your feature friend, and then the headliner's the new guy, and then you get to go out like you're in college kind of, and it was fun.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, yeah. And you're all staying in a condo together, and that was the time that I sort of like, I didn't have an apartment, but that was like one of my roommates were the other comedians I was on the road with.
Oh, sure. That makes sense. Do you miss sharing you don't have to share, when's the last time you shared a condo with another comedian?
That's a good question. I can't remember it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Right?
I think maybe the last time I was supposed to, I was just like, I think I'm going to put myself up. That's what it was.
I'll sleep outside.
I was in South Carolina, and it was a last minute week, and the money was whatever. I wasn't going to complain, but they're like, oh, and the condo is really nice. And I could see when I got there how it used to be really nice, but like there was a huge, like bigger than the top half of my body side of like mold wetness on the bathroom wall. And it was just like, don't leave the door shut when you take a shower. And I was just like, all right. I don't want to see the things they're not warning me about.
Right.
Like, So and the other guy was really nice, and I could see why they would say it was really nice, but I was like, I think it all works out. I'll go get some Marriott points. And yeah.
There you go. Yep. For the record, you don't have to share when you come to Acme. They put you in your own
No,
hotel
it's a very
room.
nice hotel room, and yeah.
Yep, there we go. Kathleen Madigan, I see you've been opening up for her.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah, she's got a new special coming out. This is my time to plug that. No, I feel like I forget what it's called exactly, but it's something about Bigfoots and boxed wine. That might be the name of it, boxed wine and Bigfoot.
Okay.
And I met her in L.A. doing a show at Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa, and she was like, I'm looking for someone near Wisconsin because I'm doing some dates in Wisconsin. And I was like, well, I can be near Wisconsin. I have that capability. So I started working with her then. And then I think we got along really well because we were both like Midwestern people. Like her Irish Catholic family is way bigger than mine, but like there's a similar sensibility. She's super funny.
Yeah.
But we both have we both like a similar kind of stand-up, I think. Like we both talk about stand-up in a similar way. And I like that. And I think it works out for me.
So how long you been working with her?
Just since like 2013 at least.
Okay,
maybe
I thought it'd been a
2012.
while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll be
that's
like
great.
10 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I do like a couple, like about 1 week a month. So
Very
1 week in
cool.
a month, yeah.
Very cool. Is there anybody else you do that with?
I did one for Joe Gatto. He's one of the
Impractical
yeah.
Jokers.
Yeah. This summer, and he was really nice. He just liked something on TikTok I liked, and my TikTok blew up like 10,000 followers. So he asked me to open. I was like, yeah, thank you. So I did that.
Is that how he paid you in followers?
Pretty much. No, yeah. Some people pay you well. Craig, I mean, I'm sure Joe was. So sometimes with those people who you don't know yet, their agents are just setting up, and so it's like they don't know how you're not getting anything. But
Sure.
like I don't think Joe would want to know that I didn't make any money. Craig Ferguson, I used to work for when he came through Chicago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
And then when I worked, there was an improv comedy club by Chicago, and they would get some big people, and I got to open for Fallon there. and Jeff Dunham, and then I worked with Kevin Hart one time downtown in Zanies.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart?
He's an up-and-comer.
Okay. I'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, he's got a couple of movies.
Keep an eye
coming
out.
up.
So the last time you were here, you did the podcast was May of 2021.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
And that was Acme was just opening back up to full capacity. Remember
Yeah,
those
everyone had
days?
the bank teller.
Yeah, the bank teller. Yeah. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't breathe on me. We talked about your, which I love the fact that your album was marked explicit, the one that was recorded here, because people were upset of when you talked about Vikings Packers, I think it was, or Vikings Bears.
Well, I
or
said
something.
I was a Bears fan, and then people screamed obscenities at me, and then my album got marked as explicit on all of the streaming services.
A comic who's known to be clean.
The whole album had an E. Like I had religious figures from my past life reaching out to me, like, Michael, are you okay? Are you speaking? Are you swearing a lot now?
Oh my God, it's so freaking funny.
Like, no, that's the whole city of Minneapolis who's angry because their football team has never won a football championship.
So fucking funny.
As far as I've known.
So we talked about that last time, and another thing that we talked about, I don't remember how we got there, but it was about how you eventually, beginning of your career, and was a big break working in Vegas at this comedy festival.
Yeah.
And I told you, I'm like, oh, I got to bring my program from when I was
Yeah.
there.
Did you bring it?
I found it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you bring two so we could put one on eBay?
Hell no. These things are priceless.
Yeah.
So for people that don't remember, you back in, see, this is why I said 2006
For people who don't
or
remember
7.
this.
So people don't remember this conversation we had a year and a half ago. I mean, I listened to it 2 hours ago.
No, I know that they would know that conversation, but the festival was a little obscure, probably.
Absolutely.
It was short running.
And the only reason I was there is because I worked at a radio show in the Twin Cities, and we would go to Vegas for a few days in November that happened to be the exact same time this festival was going on.
It was there were a lot of big names on it. It was a good festival.
So at one point, Michael Palascak won. They had this thing, Sierra Mist sponsored something. Like
the Sierra Mist, that was the one through Zanies that I won. That got me. To
you won a thing through Zanies.
Yeah.
Zanies, well, you were wearing
Chicago,
a hat
my
earlier
hat.
today.
Yeah.
It's all fitting together. So here's the program from the Comedy Festival
Yep.
in Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, November 14, 17, 2007. And on this page here, the lucky 21, the people that won from their clubs. I'm going to give you some of these names here.
Okay.
First of all, Rooster T. Feathers.
Yeah.
The winner was Mike E. Winfield,
Yeah, he just.
who we've had on this podcast, I don't know, 8, 10 times.
Well, he almost won America's Got
Almost
Talent.
won America's Got Talent this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the guy that was really good. Like, everybody's really good, but I remember he went before me. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a great young picture of Mikey Winfield there. I'll go through some of the names real quick here. Tommy Blaze.
Yep.
John Branyan. Dave Metcalf. Richie Redding. Mark Simmons. He won from the Laugh House in Philadelphia. And then someone named Michael Palascak with hair that looked very different than it does now. Won from Zanies in Chicago.
Yeah. So that haircut, I had you want to read the rest of the others?
Well, I'm going to go. So I'm just quickly. So the lucky 21, there's obviously must be 21 names here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go through other ones real quick just to give
do it.
people an example of the names that.
Yeah.
And you can maybe, do I know who this person is?
Yeah.
Do I not know? Jake Iannarino. Clearly someone I've never heard of.
I didn't get really close to him.
Someone named Joe List.
Oh, yeah. Go,
Obviously,
Joe. I
Huge
remember Joe.
comedian now.
Yeah.
Joe's doing fantastic. Phil Palasol.
Phil's hilarious.
Phil's hilarious.
Phil's another guy that, like, destroyed. He
he's-
was a big sitcom writer before that. Like, he and his wife were, like, showrunners on sitcoms in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He was on a very early episode of this podcast.
Oh,
Like
really?
The first season, yes.
Yeah.
The first year, I guess I would say. There's no seasons. Susan Rice, Tim Wilkins, Jose
Wilkins.
Sardui.
Sardui, yep. He has a big dry bar special.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
David, the Midnight Swinger Scott.
Midnight Swinger.
He's still around.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I think so. AJ Finney.
Uh-huh. He's
John-
a Denver guy.
John Betts Jr.
John Betts, yep.
David Nickerson. Alan Goodwin.
Uh-huh.
Gabriel Rutledge. And Chris White.
Yeah.
So as you can see, not maybe... It was a good stepping stone for some and maybe not for others.
Well, you know how stand-up goes. Like, I didn't have a chance to say something, like, nice about all those guys, but I think some people, they're really good at stand-up and they keep going at it, and some people are really good at stand-up and they just, find other things. to
Sure. Oh, yeah.
do. Yeah. It was. I was pretty young then, obviously, because it was so long. But, like, it was really, that was, like, the first big thing that's how I first met all the industry. And so my haircut, I had an agent in Chicago at the time for TV and commercial, and I did The Wizard of Oz, like, right out of college.
Okay.
It was like a play. It's a play, if you've heard of it. And I was the scarecrow. It was like just a thing to do that was fun. And it was like a theater hike, so it was outside. Anyways, I had to grow my hair out for that. And she saw it, and she's like, "Oh, I love your new style." I was like, "All right, my hair's longer now." And then I just kind of kept it like.
So you got to be one of those people that go, "Oh, it's for a role."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's what, because I did plays in college, and that was like before I knew about stand up. Really, I knew about it before I really got into it. And that was one of my favorite parts. Was like before a show, you just got to your hair could be whatever because they were like, "We'll cut this or leave that."
True.
Way.
Yeah. Google calls you a TV writer. Have you seen that?
I did see that.
What's up with that?
I don't know. I think I've written for myself on the Comedy Central the half hour. Like my comedy. I did write for Disney TV animation one time. They had like a little weekend where you got to come in and like sort of see what they do.
Oh.
Basically, the people that worked at Disney TV animation wanted to do something. They
were on strike, and you.
Well, I think the producers were like, well, we should have new people in. So they had like a thing where you came in and like punched up a script and then did voiceover stuff. And I punched up a script and I got a check for it. So I think like they used some of the stuff.
Oh.
But I think the main TV writing thing is just like my stand up on TV.
Oh, okay.
I get writing credit for the special that I did.
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I've never written for TV. Like
Come on, Google, get your act together. You're supposed to know everything.
Yeah. I like that life. Like one of my friends, Tommy Johnigan, is really funny stand up and he writes for TV and he has kids and he gets to live in his city all the time. And, you know, he has season tickets to the Clippers and like he can go to all the games. It's like, and you make a ton of money. Like it's a very nice life. But I think the other thing I like about stand up is just being able to like the potential of your career is so high and it's so fun. And
last time you were here, you said, I never want to be like I don't have to go on the road anymore because I love it. I love doing stand-up. That's what you said, and you follow that with, I don't love the road, but the road is fine. What I like is writing a joke that make people laugh that don't know who I am.
Yeah, that's fun.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to alter it to say, like, I'm fine if you know me now. Like,
well, I mean, yeah, that's what you beat me to it. I mean, wouldn't it be cool to have everyone in the audience, like...
Yeah, I think you can always find... I know Nate Bargatze from when we kind of started out, and we did Montreal at the same time, and I went to see his show when I was in Reno the next day, so I saw his show the day before. And we were talking because he booked a show like somewhere in Corpus Christi, Texas at a club, just like a normal club, but he's doing like theaters, you know?
Yep. And
he was like, we're not selling tickets at. So I think once you're famous and you're like, I think the money is just really helpful as a family person, not with a child to like pay for things. So I think once you're doing theaters, you can always find that city where no one's going to come who knows you. Like you can always find a place that people don't know you.
Sure.
And even if you don't, you can like drop in at clubs and they don't expect, like you can find ways to get that feeling. But I think now, talking to my past self, I would love to be able to just come out because it's fun and still work as much as I do, but because it's fun and just sort of like have the lifestyle that's, you know, that I can support a family on and stuff.
Yeah. Did you ever, you're in LA, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever consider New York?
Well, I always just sort of, it's going to sound stupid, but I sort of did like what people told me to do who were like on my team at the time. Like, at first, I was living with my parents, and my parents were like, well, we can't afford for you to live in New York and not work. We can't afford for you to go to LA and not work, but we can afford for you to live here and not make money yet. Like, you can live with us. We don't need you to bring in money for this household. So that's why I lived in Chicago with them. Yeah. And then I was there for a long time, and I got a manager at that festival, and he was like, you're making so much. I was doing so many shows on the road. He's like, why come out to LA? And he was in LA. So he would never say to come out to New York, I think, because he was like, it was a big company that produced TV shows. So it's like, why would you be in New York?
Sure.
You can do that on the road. And then, but then it all flipped. It kind of seems like where people like Joe and Mark Norman and all these guys sort of got TV and movies and like Sam Morril because they were big stand-ups in New York. So I think if I was a new comedian now, I don't know what I would do. My manager's in New York now, and he's never told me to move out there. I like the idea of it, but now when I'm home, I don't really go up that much anyways because I'm working. This is the most I've ever worked. So it's like when I'm home, I just spend time with my kid and then try to, you know, clean up when he goes to sleep and then go to do it all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'd be able to use New York for what it's worth right now, but maybe when my son's older.
Interesting.
And in school and
He's
stuff.
holding you back. I get it.
No, it's
totally kidding.
It's the best experience of my life. I feel like when I talk about being a dad on stage, like I do it in a positive way, but in a real way.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that he's made me relatable to that. Like, that's one thing I really love about my situation is like, as a comedian of my level, I just don't have the resources to be like, oh, can you come watch him for a whole week while I go do so? It's like, no, I'm going to be the one that's with him. And I don't know. I think I would have done that anyways, but I'm glad that I had to, especially during the pandemic. Like, I got to be around him the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And if for some reason he forgets about me, I'll never forget about him.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm going to share a dad moment with you right now. Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
It happened today, so now I'm going to get it on. It's going to be recorded for life now.
Yeah, yeah.
My 3-year-old, for the first time ever,
Yeah.
said "I love you" to me today.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Because she normally just says "you too."
Yeah.
I mean, not normally. That's all she's
Yeah.
ever said is "you too." I love you. You
Yeah.
too. Today she said "I love you" back to me.
What did you do? Like, what happened? How did it work out? What played
I
out?
was leaving to come here,
And she just said, "I love you."
Yeah, I said it
Aw.
first, and she said all 3 words back to me.
Aw.
I know.
That's
In fact,
great.
I didn't even tell my wife because, well, she got hers yesterday. So
Okay.
I think we've turned a corner.
That's
she
great.
said it to my wife yesterday for the first time, and
Yeah.
me for the first time today. However, we've heard her say "I love you" before,
Yeah.
only to one person, and it was over 2 months ago. She
Yeah.
took over 2 months to say it to either of her parents. But
Who
you know
did
who
she say
said
to
it
first? No.
Mickey Mouse.
Was it Mickey Mouse live or on the TV?
Stuffed animal Mickey Mouse that she sleeps with.
In her defense, it is Mickey. Like, that's Mickey to her. And, you know, she
She
can
said it with so much feeling
Yeah.
in front of both of her parents, both me and my wife.
Well, years and years of marketing and research has gone into making that Mickey Mouse lovable.
I guess.
You guys are just who you are.
I know. I wasn't created by Walt Disney.
You make her eat vegetables sometimes. Like, Mickey's
Oh,
like,
yeah. I say no to things. Yeah.
yeah. I don't remember how old he was when he said "I love you," but I do know it was like he would go to bed and then he like I have a mat in his room next to it. It's kind of like a foam thing like that, and he would want me to lay there while he fell asleep a little bit. And at first I wouldn't do it, but then it was like, well, it's not a big deal. Like the whole sleep hygiene has like really gone off the rails since he was like 1.5. Like up to like 1.5, 2, it was like very in, I'm out. You cry for 10 minutes, easy. And then his mom was like, well, you can hold him a little bit. And it's just like, well, it's all destroyed now. So now that I would lay next to him, and then that's when he said, "I love you." And I think I couldn't tell. I think part of it's just like, because I didn't leave. He's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here still."
Love it.
I'm glad you're a bad parent and you're not leaving me to self-soothe.
Yes, keep it up. Keep it up, Dad. Keep it up, Dad. Let's talk about, let's see what else here. Is there any, you have one dry bar. I
One
know,
dry
I'm
bar.
hearing people are doing second ones now.
Yeah.
Have they contacted you at all for a
Well,
second one?
I think like 6 months ago, the guy that booked stuff for me was like, I feel weird saying my agent. He is one, but it feels like very Hollywood. Anyways, my agent said, he asked me if I wanted to do one, and I said I would do one the next time they were going around to do them. I just want to do something that I can have a little more control over,
Okay.
or something that has like that's on like a bigger streaming service.
Sure.
And yeah, so we'll see. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. But yeah.
Wait, just how close are you to having something to be recorded
Well,
right now?
yeah, I have everything I'm doing now is stuff that wasn't on the last album and
Awesome.
hasn't been on a dry bar. So
Yeah.
this is the most prepared I've been to record something ever in my life. So yeah.
But there's no plan or nothing you can say right now?
I don't know. I talked to my my manager about it, and he was like, Sirius had their whole thing where they were having people sign away their rights to stuff because comedians on Sirius and streaming services don't get the writer's fee that like songwriters get.
Oh, yes, I've heard about this.
So there was a whole thing, and I signed the thing because people told me to sign the thing. And then those people are like, well, let's get out of that. And I'm like, well, I'm already in it. Like, I don't know. And they still play my stuff, so I'm still doing okay. So then there was a hold on that, and then like the company I did mine with last time, what I would like is a company that doesn't do like all of everyone's special, everyone's album. Like it seems like some of these companies do everybody's, which is fine. I'm glad that everyone has an opportunity, but I feel like I want to do one that's sort of like going to showcase it a little more.
Okay.
And I feel like that might just be me recording it and putting it up on YouTube or something, because I'll just do mine.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple more people's, but I don't know how it's going to work out. I'm going to be home at Zany's in Chicago in March and April. So I think maybe that week I'll record something and do it. Not to advertise a different club, but Acme hasn't given me a hat yet. So No, I did my last one at Acme, and it was the most successful I've ever had with an album, and the most I've ever loved it. And like I would do it here again, but I feel like it's good to like do different places.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what you do now. Like I do my hour now, and I'm like, well, this is all stuff I've done before, but it's like there's no room. Like I'm not gonna kick out jokes that are doing well that people haven't really like seen in the world yet. So.
Right.
I'm kind of just, I've never been in this place before.
Right. How much do you hate or love TikTok?
I love TikTok.
You love TikTok.
I'm on a high scale of TikTok. Oh, I like it as a user because it gives me stuff that I want. Like, I don't know if you're on TikTok, but whatever you watch just gives you more of it.
Yes, I've come to the dark side. Yes.
My favorite thing to watch on TikTok is this guy. I forget what it's called, but you can like search it. I should probably say what it is. There's a couple things. There's a girl who does a recap of the NFL every week as the different coaches, and it's like a board meeting with every team there, and she just has like a one-liner for like almost every game.
Oh wow!
And it's really good.
Wow.
And I feel like I should know these people. I'm not gonna be able to find it now. Maybe we'll post it in like the YouTube comments or whatever. And then there's another guy who takes like old footage of non-professional games, but like that have been on TV and like analyzes them like they're like an NFL game. And he does like a old Rock and Jock football game, and he does that Wedding Crashers football scene where Bradley Cooper like blindsides Vince Vaughn. He breaks it down like it's like NFL films.
Oh, that's funny.
I laugh, I cry because it's so funny to me as someone who likes sports.
Yeah.
So I like that about TikTok. And then just as a comic, my jokes have worked pretty well on TikTok, but on Instagram, like they've just blown up. And I think that's allowed me, even though I don't have a new special out there, to sort of connect with a lot of people. And when they come out to see the show, they see stuff they haven't seen before.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw you're posting stuff from, 10 years ago?
Old
probably.
albums, yeah. I post all the old stuff. And I even, like, do old jokes and record them and then put those out there because they're already on albums. So I think, like, that's a great way to connect with people. And maybe that'll be a step to, like, someone seeing it and be like, oh, he should do a special. A lot of fans have said I should do a special. Like, a lot of fans have been like, you should be on this streaming service. But I don't think those people know the president of Netflix or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah, who do you know?
So I love that social media. It's allowed me to do my own thing, and I think it's great.
Can you explain to me a thing that pops up occasionally on my For You is these people that are like make me laugh. They're just like silent, and then they want you to make them laugh.
Oh, what those are?
Yeah, well, I don't get that. I don't understand. From each side, I don't understand that person just sitting there quietly and then reading things and like, I'm going to be quiet until you make me laugh. And I also don't understand the other, like, why would I sit there to make you laugh?
Are they live?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so
live.
I think it's just like people are their fans. They're probably really big, and that's just a sort of way to go.
This is somebody like, it could be me sitting in my bathroom. Like, I'm
I've
not
never
a comedian.
seen those.
Just like silent. I don't know.
Just reading stuff that people post.
Well, they're reading it. You don't know. I mean,
reading the
silent.
comments. Yeah.
It's silent. I don't get it. Do you see those, Brandon? No, I guess my For You sucks.
I think
apparently.
that's what's cool about TikTok is there's so much stuff out there that you would see that. Like my experience with TikTok is different than that. Like everybody that has it, but you can look for that stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think that doesn't seem that fun. I don't think
not.
I don't think I want to look for that.
It's not. Do you ever check the live? That's I guess. That's probably where
sometimes
I
those pop up on
on
my
that.
For You page. I usually just scroll through the lives. Sometimes I'll watch the video game ones, which is sad. But it's like the old school video game ones are fun to watch.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I got a buddy who we used to play the NHL, 93, 94, 95. Yes. And there was a guy streaming it the other night, and I freaking was like, I shared it with my buddy, who lives in Florida. Just like, look at that, he's playing the game.
Yeah.
He gets to play the game. I mean, I didn't watch for very long, but it does bring back a couple
for sure
fun memories and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. Finally, I think I know the answer to, well, I do know the answer to this, but I want you to say, what kind of merch did you bring? What are you selling after the shows when people come and say hi?
I was just going to bring a shirt to show you guys, and I was going to give you one. I can give you one.
They're not back? They're at the hotel?
I should have left them here. I left them
at the
here.
Hotel. You son of a gun.
But I have these new shirts. I have a joke about how a guy came out to me after a show here one time and was like, I don't want to be a stalker. But I saw a video of yours on YouTube, and that's why I came to the show tonight. So now I have shirts that say not a stalker on it, just so people don't have to say that. They can just buy it, and I'll know that they're not stalkers.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then you have a download card still? And
well,
stuff?
I sold out of my download cards.
Oh, in one night?
Well, not in one night. I need to order more. I sold out of them over the last 2 years. But I have the CD version for people that have like Mercedes-Benzes with CD players. I was talking to a friend. A lot of Mercedes-Benzes still have CD players because I think the older generation that can afford those, they like CDs. But in general, it's just if you have a CD player, it's the one that I did here. I have a couple of those left, and I have the other 2 left too. And then that's it to buy. You can like download the other ones online and stuff too.
Sure.
Well, thanks.
I think that's probably. Yeah. Oh, we could wrap it up there. People ought to follow you on all the social medias.
Yeah.
YouTube, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I need to post more on YouTube Shorts, but I'm on Instagram a ton. I do a lot of stories. It's Michael Palascak, and then TikTok too.
I signed up for Michael's Contemplations.
Yes.
Am I going to get any more, or are these done?
No, I just sent one out. When did you sign up?
This morning.
Okay, so yes, I do one a month. And I just sent one a couple weeks ago, so there'll be one before the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you want to see the rest of them, they're in my story highlights on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a few old ones like posted on Facebook or something.
Yeah, but
and it had been a while, and then I went to your website and signed up. I'm like, did I just sign up for something that doesn't exist?
No, I just feel I don't have like I do everything myself. If everyone's like, who am I talking to? Anyways, I reply to all my messages. I don't hire somebody. So when you sign up for my email list, you don't get an email that says confirm this because I don't know how to do that. And it's not a big deal. If it looks like you're fake, who cares? So I basically, what my manager was like, oh, I really like people that send out emails. I think it's fun. And a lot of people send them out where it's like, here are 5 things I like, and here's another thing I like, and then all this stuff. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I want to give people something that's like not a week's worth of work, but maybe a night's worth of work. So I basically kind of like take a topic and kind of contemplate it or just sort of ramble on it. And like it's like stand up. I say it's like a podcast you read because sometimes it's funny and it's sometimes it's insightful. But it's just sort of like a little thing, and people seem to like it. And usually when I send one out, I usually lose like 2 or 3 followers, but I gain 2 or 3. So and I gain a lot when I post on social media. So I think people like it, and I just keep doing it.
So it's worth it.
Yeah, and then I post my dates at the end, and what I like about it is, like, Elon Musk can't just buy my email list. Like, he can buy Instagram, he can buy whatever, and they can take apart that stuff. But I have these people's emails, not in a weird way, but in a way like they can keep like being stalkers, not being stalkers if they want to.
Right, and according to the what I'm seeing on the news right now, TikTok is stealing on that, using all that information to plot against us.
So who knows what's gonna happen to TikTok?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would be sad.
Exactly.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know enough about that stuff to know how they're going to take my information to plot against me. Like, am I supposed to be going to work and they're like, look at these videos over here, and then the economics of the world just fall apart in America?
Yeah, so be careful.
Yeah,
it's all on you, Michael.
Yeah. Well, the government should start an anti-TikTok where it's just like, here's all the things that make the world better.
No one likes that.
Only videos that make the world better.
That's not interesting to people. People like car crashes.
We would trick them.
Trick them?
We'd be like, this is even cooler than TikTok, and then all of a sudden people are like volunteering and cleaning up garbage.
We'll check back on that.
I mean, it seems a little fascist, but anyways.
Thank you for coming in and doing this today.
Thanks, Justin.
And hopefully we'll do it again in about a year.
That sounds great.
Perfect.
Yeah.